What is up, guys? Welcome to another edition of This Week in Wrestling by Straight Edge Wrestling podcast. It's been another newsworthy week.
What, WWE trying to kill their freaking stuff?
Yeah, WWE trying to kill their staff, and obviously more has come out on the speaking out sexual abuse allegations, which have been rife throughout wrestling. It's been there's been a lot this week. We'll start with that. We'll start with the COVID stuff. So obviously WWE had 2 positive cases prior to this week. They had one right at the beginning of all of this, and they managed to kind of just sweep that under the rug, pretend as though it didn't happen. And then they had another one.
They took the person around the back and shot him.
Yes, basically. They managed to pretend it didn't happen, and they swept it all under the rug. And then last week, someone else tested positive. Another a person in the audience tested positive, which we reported. So WWE finally upped their testing game and actually started testing, I should say, because they've never tested before. Most of the wrestlers had never even been tested once, even privately, let alone by WWE. So they tested all of their roster, and they ended up having to cancel their Smackdown tapings last week because they didn't have enough time to do it, getting the tests back. So they delayed, and then they finally got the results back, and it seems like there are dozens of positive COVID-19 cases. Dozens, not just a few. Obviously, they can't release the names, and reporters can't release the names if they're given to them because they'll breach US law. So the only names that we know are people that have come forward themselves and said it. So Renee Young was the first one to come out and say that she tested
they don't
positive.
have to do that anymore now, are they?
Right, exactly. Which I will definitely touch upon. So Renee Young said that she tested positive. So this is a really interesting case because basically Jon Moxley has been speaking to Dave Meltzer about it constantly throughout this whole thing because he believes that this should all be out in the public, out in the open. Everyone should know everything about this. It's too serious to keep it buried, which is absolutely true. And so he's been telling everyone, he's been telling Dave everything. So she received a number of phone calls from all of her peers and fellow wrestlers, but there was a few notable absences from who didn't contact her, which would be Vince McMahon, Triple H, Mark Carrano, or Kevin Dunn. None of the top brass of WWE or the head of talent relations, Mark Carrano, contacted her to see how she was doing for all of this, which is just, I mean, it sums WWE up, I think, to a T.
She should be surprised.
They were also told, wrestlers were also told, essentially, you're not allowed to say anything. If you've got it, you're not allowed to say anything about it. And I tweeted out yesterday basically saying, well, they're independent contractors.
They can't. America had this thing in in a certain bit of paper already. Said something about freedom of speech.
Yeah, funny. But they're independent contractors. I don't work for you. You can't tell me what I can and can't say, especially not when I have a life-threatening illness. It's ludicrous. WWE, day by day, they break down this independent contractor facade, where they can say, no, but we don't really employ them because they're free to do whatever they want. No, they're not.
Apart from WWE controls every bit of their life.
Everything, their social media, everything, every individual part of their life. Yeah, it's bullshit. So Jon Moxley tested negative, but obviously he's going to have to be tested probably a couple more times because he could still catch it. But as of right now, he's tested negative. But so they haven't yet, as far as I'm aware, pulled him from Fyter Fest yet. But it seems quite likely that they will pull him against Brian Cage because Mox decided that he contacted Tony Khan off of his own back to say, look, I'm not going to come to Orlando. I'm not going to come to Jacksonville and get tested. I'm not going to do any of this, even though he's tested negative on a private test because he doesn't want to put anyone at risk, which was, the right thing to do. And I wish more people would think like that and not put people at risk.
What you mean about go to a beach and when it's nice and sunny weather?
That sort of thing.
Shoulder to shoulder, pretty much.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Like not wear masks and standing with 25,000 people shoulder to shoulder at a beach. Yeah, just whatever, ludicrous. And the thing about WWE is, obviously, they're based in Orange County in Orlando, Florida, and Florida is just booming with cases now. They're getting more cases per day now than they were 2 months ago. They're on their way up. They're not even on a straight trajectory. They're going straight up right now. 5,000 new cases yesterday. They're going up and up and up every single day. And Vince McMahon is still talking about running shows with fans at the end of July.
Yeah, how can you talk about that when you've just lost half your fucking employees?
Blows my mind.
You just put half your employees. You put all your employees at risk and managed to give half your employees some killer disease.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we'll bring the public involved as well. Get them involved too.
Yeah. Fuck it. We can have a big old party. We can all get it here. They
as long as he calls it the COVID-19 party.
Don't, because he'll make a pay-per-view out of it somehow.
May as well. If everyone's dying, we'll just do it.
WWE presents Corona. They
can't call it Corona. They have to call it COVID-19 because Corona will be asking for money.
Yeah. But the thing is, WWE doesn't even acknowledge it on their television. They pretend it doesn't exist. At least in AEW, they address it. They say, "Hey, we're getting tested. Yeah. Hey, these people aren't going to be here this week."
Well, AEW mentioned it this week about why
QT Marshall.
Weren't there.
Yeah, and QT Marshall was the same thing. He took himself off of AEW television, not because he tested positive, but he had been in very close contact with someone that he knew who had tested positive. So he isolated himself to get a private test until he could get tested properly. Once again, the right thing to do, because but then there was also reports from Fightful this week which blew my mind, which was that lots of NXT talent have basically said they didn't feel comfortable coming in this Wednesday for tapings after the big surge in cases. And the quote from Fightful was essentially that talent was urged to come in even after expressing that they are uncomfortable. So basically, even though we've heard for weeks, they're being told, "Oh, if you don't want to come in, stay home, stay home."
How long before you just say bollocks to you?
Exactly. And we know that Kevin Dunn had also, on at least 3 occasions during the recordings last week, come over the PA system, over the Performance Center, to tell people not to wear masks. At least 3 times he came over the Performance Center to tell people to take their masks off in the crowd.
You know, I tell you one thing I liked about Jimmy Uso through this show, especially when it comes to the end bit where you got them all around the ring. The fact that he's got his bandana around his face.
Yeah, and you just know, Kevin Dunn was somewhere punching a hole in a wall. Yeah, good for him. And so for the first time, the audience had masks, but not all of them. It's still not all of them had masks on last night on Smackdown, which I don't understand why. I don't understand why just once at least they weren't told wear the masks tonight. Seeing as we just had a massive surge in cases this week, wear the damn, or better yet, don't record, but whatever.
I just don't understand why they never gave out their masks to all of them anyway. True to it will help sell their merch.
Yeah, they're branded. They brand them their masks. And do you know what makes all this even worse was the talent who worked for WWE found out that there was multiple positive cases, not from WWE, but they found out from the media, from Ryan Satin. That just it blows my mind that you're finding this out from Ryan Satin and not from your so-called employer.
Well, let's be honest. It's back to you look at EC3, how he found out he got put onto the main roster.
Yeah,
he was watching Smackdown, and then all of a sudden his name came up saying he's now going to be. Is that? Oh, am I? All right.
WWE Backstage was cancelled this week because Fox is streamlining its programming and taking lots of WWE programming off their extra stuff that they used to do for WWE on Fox. And Renee Young found out Backstage was being cancelled from a tweet from Fox. And then she got COVID. So she had a hell of a week.
Probably good thing she got COVID. Good enough reason to stay at home.
Yeah, yeah. And so we know Jamie Noble also has got COVID-19, and that he is responsible for producing most of the matches, going over spots with lots of talent. So there was a bit of worry about the fact of how much contact he's had with lots of people. Kayla Braxton, the interviewer, and Adam Pearce, the producer backstage as well. But they're the only names.
Do we know if Vince McMahon's been tested yet?
Yeah, see, I imagine he must have been tested like constantly. I just imagine him sitting in a little bubble backstage, or not caring.
Yeah, you think he borrowed Michael Cole's frigging box?
Yeah, it's like a little coal mine thing. Yeah,
the karma of it would all be in the end when this all things that he gets it. This is a germaphobe.
Yeah, I don't know. He's old and he's taken lots of steroids in his life because it probably wouldn't bode well for him. But I don't know. The whole handling of this is just fucking awful. And the fact that they're still running shows, the fact that masks aren't mandatory, the fact that last night we had a Smackdown show which was half-assed put together because of this, you know.
Don't get me started on the insult to Undertaker.
Yeah, like we had that bullshit.
And I'm not normally the guy that will defend the Undertaker, but that just pissed me off.
Yeah, we had a half-assed little tribute to Undertaker.
Wasn't even a fucking tribute. They just took fucking all their bits from a fucking documentary they did.
Yeah,
it's not that hard to fucking try and get some fucking guys on a fucking phone and ask them to do a video. All of them would have fucking done it.
Yeah, get some new content.
I dare say you could have got fucking Dwayne Johnson to take 5 minutes out of his day. He loves talking on his phone and making videos. And
the thing is, these people are at home because, you know, it's a pandemic still going on. So they're still at home, most of them, or they're not away on movie sets. Like The Rock isn't away on a movie set. He's on Instagram all the time doing videos at the moment.
Even if The Rock was on fucking a movie set, I dare say he would have taken 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like that. It's fucking Undertaker. Of course I'll do this. Yeah. Fuck all of you.
Just ludicrously. So also this week, there's been sort of an increase in what's happened with the speaking out allegations that have happened in the world of professional wrestling. We had Joey Ryan was sort of at the brunt of a lot of it. He had to shut down his company Bar Wrestling, and Impact, and pretty much every company that has anything to do with him have said they're not booking him again. He's done. And companies which showed his show on their streaming platforms have pulled all of his stuff, like Joey Ryan's Penis Party, which was part of AEW Weekend and all that, have all been pulled from streaming platforms. Marty Scurll.
Does this mean he's got to try and get an actual job now?
Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah, fucking good. Marty Scurll had a lot of allegations against him. He publicly spoke out and obviously refuted the allegations and said that it was consensual legal sex with a girl over here in the UK for a company called IPW UK back in 2015, I want to say. But he released quite a lengthy statement about it. WWE has released El Ligero and Travis Banks yesterday because of allegations made towards both of them. So that's the third. They're the third people that WWE's released. Chikara, which has been obviously a wrestling company for quite some time now, has ceased trading altogether over it because their owner, their co-founder, had several allegations against him. So now they've completely ceased trading, shut their doors forever. And Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara was a weird one. Audio came out from him from about 4 years ago where he'd said that he'd done some work with with WWE some extra work. He'd gone for a tryout, something like that, and
he was training. He went for a few training sessions at the thing, and Sasha Banks was there.
Yeah,
and
he'd seen
he went there.
Yeah, he'd seen Sasha Banks, and he said, I won't say what he said, but he said some derogatory things about her, and obviously he apologized to Sasha.
Well, I actually think Sasha Banks actually dealt with this really well.
Very well. I thought it was a very, very classy statement rather than telling him to go fuck himself.
What she said, she spoke to Sammy, then apologised. Yeah. He understands where he's fucked it up, basically.
Yeah, they did it. They handled it like adults privately and then released public statements. AEW suspended him, donating all of his pay during his suspension to a women's shelter in Jacksonville. And he has to undergo sensitivity training. He released a video apology as well, which is quite it was really quite good because he said in that, you know, the Sammy Guevara of 4 years ago isn't the Sammy Guevara today, and that, you know, he would say all those stupid things to try and, he said, pop the room, you know, make filthy jokes to pop the room, which I get.
And he's too busy polishing Chris Jericho's ass.
Yeah. He matured and became a jock sniffer for Chris Jericho. But so that was probably the big one of the week was Sammy Guevara. People were really calling for his head this week. You know, they were really, really wanted them to fire him. I think that was handled
I
very
don't
well.
see why. If Sasha Banks made a bigger deal out of it, then yeah, all right, fair enough. But Sasha Banks handled it like a pro, so
exactly.
It's not very often I say that about Sasha Banks.
Sasha Banks, no, I completely agree. So, but people were sort of getting offended on her behalf, even after she, you know, accepted the apology and said, okay, right, so now let's do better.
How can why get upset for someone when instead do that support thing? She's okay with it, she's moving on, they've sorted it out. Now let's just help everybody else up.
Yeah, let's make people better rather than drag everyone down with it. How about we try and improve society rather than just try and get everyone fired and hide them all in the shadows. Also this week we had Tessa Blanchard was sacked from Impact and stripped of the World Championship. She must be one of the biggest tragedy stories of the last couple of years in terms of potential wasted. You know, she is so damn talented, really, 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 really unbelievably good in the ring, and probably could have been one of the biggest female stars in the world.
It's a shame about what she does same about what she does outside the ring.
Exactly, and that's the problem. It's like, but unfortunately, she's an arsehole. Yeah, Impact stuck with her last year after the racism allegations and the bullying allegations all against her, and yet she just sort of threw it back in her face.
Where she wants to do something, but she won't do something if she doesn't want to. Just reminds me so much of Austin Aries, really.
I saw lots of I saw exactly those comparisons that she was the female Austin Aries. I saw that.
I saw some people also like bring up about like Loki as well, but they also don't. Some was that at least Loki would job if he didn't. He didn't really want to complain about it, but at least he'd lose to someone on his way out. Yeah, that's why Loki always managed to come back and then leave again.
Yeah, and he'd do the work. That's the point. Like, these people would do the work. So obviously she was let go. So the final straw was when they asked her to send in some promo tapes for Slammiversary, the main event she was supposed to be in for one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year, and she just didn't bother. Just ignored them and then didn't bother. So Impact, and all credit to them, they stripped her and fired her, which fair enough. It's a shame. Impact can't catch a break.
Why do I feel though that there's going to be a bloke harassing AEW managerial people to get his daughter to come to AEW?
I think if they hire her after all of this, people are really gonna have some choice words to Mr. Khan after what the public statements he's made about, you know, Hulk Hogan and racism.
I already have choice words from Mr. Khan.
Yeah, exactly. But I think people, I think he's got to be a smarter man than that to not read the room that that's a bad idea.
I think he needs to be a smart man on how he's running his company as it is right now.
That too. So also this week, before we get on to the shows, NXT won the ratings this week against AEW.
Because it's the best show of the whole fucking week.
Exactly. They're consistently being the best show of the week, better than Raw, SmackDown, AEW, and they have been for quite some time. And obviously the main event of that, Keith Lee, Finn Balor, Johnny Gargano, that was a great match. All three of them.
Finn Balor was robbed.
I thought that was brilliant. I loved, and they're bringing back Great American Bash to be
Is Tori Wilson going to be on the front cover?
That's all I picture when I think of Great American Bash is Tori Wilson back in the old SmackDown pay-per-views.
They need to bring Tori Wilson back for 2 nights. Just bring her back. You can't have Great American Bash without Tori Wilson. It's just not allowed.
I know this has caused a lot of people to get pissed off with WWE about them not only running against AEW and Fyter Fest, but using a Dusty Rhodes creation to do it with Great American Bash. I know Cody commented on it. I know his sister did as well. About his sister tweeted out something like, "How about you write my mum a check to WWE?"
Yeah, that's what they thought when they decided to use the Great American Bash.
Yeah,
exactly. Dusty creation. Let's use it.
And also, they just brought back In Your House. They just did this with an old event.
Great American Bash is, I think, one of the events that Vince McMahon loves.
Yeah, he loves the flag flying. He loves all that stuff. It's weird to me that they stopped.
I was thinking more that he liked putting women in bathing suits.
I'm thinking he's like the most patriotic man ever. You hear Bruce Pritchard talk about all the time how he
just
loves
not other American people and things like that, because he likes to let him catch stuff that's going to freaking hopefully not kill him.
He loves like having a flag waving. That's why he loves the American national anthem, and he loves all the standing up with your hand over your heart before Mania, and he loves all that sort of stuff. So I'm surprised that Great American Bash ever went away, to be honest. It used to be one of my favourite pay-per-views, the theme for that every year.
I used to love Armageddon, but that's never coming back because there's some fucking shitty Hell in the Cell pay-per-view.
Also this week we had probably what dominated the beginning of this week was the final episode of the Undertaker Last Ride documentary. What do you think of it?
Documentary? Loved it. When they reshowed it again on SmackDown, well, it was a terrible idea.
they didn't really show it all again. They only showed tiny bits. But I think this documentary was probably the best thing WWE's produced for the network. I really do. I think it is the most revealing look at backstage in WWE they've ever done. I think it's incredible. And I think it's like, I think that closing bit of Undertaker where he's sort of seemingly at peace, but we don't really know because he may come back.
Well, I don't know. 10 minutes before that, he couldn't quite bring himself to say it.
Yeah. Do you know what the thing is? It's like, I think if another WrestleMania and a few Saudis and all that can pass and he's not part of it, I think that'd be it, or that'd be it for at least maybe that one match or whatever, but like a few years time. But I think as long as he can get over that hump of not performing at a Mania or a Saudi show.
You wait for it. Vince McMahon, we call him up for that first pay-per-view back when the fans come riding in.
Wouldn't even surprise me. Literally wouldn't even surprise me. But no, I think I really think that doc was incredibly well done, and I think that the closing part of it with playing George Strait Troubadour over the end and stuff, and going back over his years was really, really, really well done. And the whole thing was great.
Yeah.
And
I loved it. I almost had a tear in my eye in that last video because I realised there's going to be no more of these action documentary because it was really, really good.
Yeah, I had more than a tear in my eye. I was near enough bawling watching that last.
Of course it is, because you loved Undertaker, and if you ever met him, you'd probably be humping his leg.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, Undertaker's been around basically. Well, he has been around my entire life. He's like the one constant, especially in the wrestling business, which has been there since I was born. So it's weird, this character not being around. It's going to be
Well,
so
if I'm honest, he was around before you were born, so
that's what I mean. So he's been around my entire life. So it's like he's the one constant throughout my entire life, which is going to be weird, just that character not being there.
oh well, there's always a network.
Yeah, I say that, but they'll probably have him back facing Baron Corbin at the next Saudi show. So who knows?
Or more dodgy tributes, probably next Raw, SmackDown, NXT. They've got like 5 episodes that they can take away and just do a shit version of a tribute and insult the fucking bloke.
Yeah. So the shows this week.
Like Raw as a whole. Raw was a quite good show from the whole. I found it quite entertaining. I quite liked it.
I thought it was fine. I think Drew and Dolph is something I couldn't give a flying shit about. But
well, at the end of the day, it depends how Drew goes about it, because Drew becomes quite entertaining with people and stuff. So it depends how Drew comes about it. It'll be Drew that'll make it the more entertaining part. And Dolph actually, while you watched him with Otis and Mandy, is proven that he can. So it could be quite an entertaining build-up story to it.
I'd much prefer. Like, I ended up liking the Bobby Lashley feud. I really liked that, and I thought the match was really good at the end. Problem is, it started out of nothing.
I'm a little bit disappointed that hasn't turned into like a 2-3 month storyline, because that would have been fucking great. Especially when you hit the 3rd month and they're tearing each other apart limb from limb properly.
Yeah, I agree, and that's what I mean. This is what this Dolph thing is going to be. Just the same thing. He's going to run through him, and then they abandon it, and he goes on to the next one. And it's like, how about we give some length to this?
I quite like the whole show. It was still quite an enjoyable whole show overall.
Yeah, it was fun. I really enjoy the Seth and Dominic and Ray things. I actually really quite like. I'm quite enjoying that story because it's just ridiculous. I quite enjoy it.
I want to know if Seth's going to recruit a 4th person.
Who do you think it's going to be?
I don't know. I want to know if he will. I'm hoping he does.
Oh, I thought you were saying like you had someone in mind that you thought he was going to recruit.
No, I'm hoping he does, because it could then be an 8v8 person tag team match. So they've been like a 6v6 and having Dominic at the ringside.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I was actually hoping while that thing was going on that there was going to be a 6th person. When they all cornered Seth, I was hoping there was going to be a 4th person kind of come run down and join Seth, because it would be quite interesting.
I imagine it is going to be like you just said. I imagine it is going to end up being 3v3 with Dominic in the corner. I imagine.
I want Dominic in the match.
The Edge Randy Orton stuff was continuing. Edge cut.
Well, actually, technically, kind of. Edge did his own little thing, which is pointless because we're not going to see him for ages. Why not just let the Big Show continue the storyline on?
The Edge promo was fantastic, as they all are.
Yes. But it was a wasted fucking time part. That was my problem with that.
I'm happy with them doing that. Don't let us forget about Edge between now and the 6 months until he comes back. Continue teasing it. That's a nice long build of a story for his return. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, but that's great. But you see that he's going to be bringing back the rated R superstar. That's great. That's what I wanted to. But I'm not going to see you for months. So.
But that's fine. And build it then over the next few months. Let people, because you think he's been gone for such a long time. There's probably a lot of fans out there that don't know about the rated R superstar. But as long as over the next few months they continue incorporating him into the shows, I'm happy with that, because I hate when someone just gets injured and they're just forgotten about. Because like when you used to get Austin injured or The Rock or whatever, you'd see sit down interviews with JR. They'd make you continue being interested in the.
They can't do that. They don't have JR anymore, do they?
No, but I don't mean that they don't need to literally do exactly what they did in 1997, but the equivalent of.
Well, apparently they do.
Well, I thought I said fuck it. Well, yeah, because I mean the ratings aren't doing any good for them, but they're back to Legend Killer Randy Orton against the Big Show. It seems.
Problem is, I want to see the Big Show actually beat him on this one.
It was funny because I actually said to you last week, I was like, what legends are there now which Randy can sort of go against? And I actually completely forgot that the Big Show is still like a semi-active person there.
To be honest, you kind of forget the lot that we've been watching that have slowly been coming away from it in the last sort of 5 years. You kind of forget that technically they're now officially a legend.
Yeah, you forget that Big Show has been in the business for 25, 26 years as well himself. Yeah, you do
So
kind of
Cena,
forget.
I still kind of don't classify him as a legend at the moment because he's John Cena, and well, he's just it's what WWE needs. They need John Cena to keep doing his thing.
Yeah, even though he is a bona fide legend himself. So yeah, it's weird. It's like I don't know what other like legends there are for Randy to go against, but I'm sure there's dozens.
I'll bring the Undertaker back.
God. What's betting like Shane McMahon's one of them, or Triple H? They got Triple H, I suppose.
But they're friends.
Yeah, but that's probably like a big one they can use if Edge isn't back for a long time. That's probably a big one they can use for a main event.
The big one they could use is Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, I mean he's already screwed coming out of his retirement for that shit show in Saudi, so why not come out and actually probably have a good match with Randy? Yeah, and we know Charlotte's out for some time now after this Raw. They've written her out. She's going to go get some surgeries for some niggling little injuries that she had. We had AEW Wednesday. What do you think about AEW?
It was all right. Nothing too sort. It was all right. There were some bits that were a bit unneeded. It was okay. I loved the ending. I think that was the best ending to all the shows.
Same here.
With Orange Cassidy and Jericho. Tag team bits were doing quite well. We now got the 8-man tag team match at Fight Fest.
Yeah, FTR and the Bucks versus Butcher and the Blade and Pentagon and Phoenix, which is that should be a good match. We've not seen the Lucha Bros in a long time because obviously they've been one of them's been off injured. So yeah, I reckon that'd be a very good match. I'm really happy that they're using Butcher and the Blade now because they introduced them quite strong, and then they just like a lot of things in AEW, they just disappeared for ages. I'm glad because they're quite a good looking team.
Well, yeah, let's be honest. AEW's got the problem is that they hired an awful lot of people, and it's trying to get them all out there, and then you kind of got to put them to one side, and then you forget about them. Yeah. Although they really have got to put Warlord in more matches because that lumberjack match at the start between those that was freaking amazing.
Very, very good. Yeah, I did enjoy that. I tell you what, though, there was one line in that which really made me laugh, and it shouldn't have. It was JR when he went off the stage into everyone under there. It was JR just going, "Well, it was lucky all those people were just waiting to catch him." that made me laugh so much because I hear JR shit on that thing, where people dive over the top rope and all that all the time, and people just stand there waiting to catch him. He just gave zero shits about that. Where he was lucky that they were all just waiting there to catch him. But no, I like AEW. The closing shot, it was Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho. I thought was awesome. This is exactly it with Orange Cassidy. Like this is perfect. Like I have not liked at all. I've not even hidden the fact that I didn't like the hands in pockets all the time thing, the comedy character, mainly because you know how athletic he is, and like when he works, you see how really great he is as a worker. And I just hated the hands in pockets and make him a bullshit comedy character, which is sort of plateau.
Well, the problem is, I was a bit, as I said, in the original part, I was a bit behind it. Then I started seeing him get a bit more things, so I was a bit more like. But it's more because of the way he was booked in the early part of it all. They booked him as that part, I think, and he never got a chance to get going.
Yeah, exactly.
In the past few months, they give him a chance, and then when he gets going, he's quite good.
Right, exactly. I agree. I agree 100%. It's like that was the problem, was that for the first basically year that they've had him, they've done nothing other than the cool as a cucumber, whatever guy, and then the last month they've booked him exactly as he probably should have been booked the whole time. He's cool as a cucumber, but he'll fuck you up. That's exactly what the character should have been, and it's brilliant. The gigging behind the ear, the bleeding from behind the ear, I thought was fantastic. He looked cool.
Yeah. Tell you one thing though, that show could have done without, and this is because let's be honest, I'm a great fan of Cody. We all know this. I love Cody. But my God, the Cody and Jackson. That whole segment was shit.
It was really.
I'd rather have seen him defend the fucking title this time around.
I feel like it was just. I don't know if it was just me. It felt really awkward, really forced and awkward the whole time. That's how I sort of felt when I was watching it.
It just seemed pointless anyway.
Yeah, it was pointless, but it just seemed. I don't know. I didn't like it. I agree. I've been half here, half not here on Cody defending the title every week, but I would have preferred a title defense over that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
like even Jake Hager, because Jake Hager was barely in it, and when he did show up, nothing really happened with Jake Hager. You know that?
Yeah, it's all about Cody.
All right.
Yeah. Do you know what? They are telling a story. Yeah. They are telling a story with Cody, which I think is quite interesting. Like someone pointed it out to me this week about they're slowly turning him heel, very, very slowly, and hinting at they've done it a lot more this week, with the sort of heelish thing, but they're slowly turning him into that arrogant heel, which I hope they're doing that, and it's not just Cody being an arsehole, but that seems to be what they're doing, is they're slowly turning him into this arrogant heel, but doing it in a way where he's like, "Hey, I know you all love me. I know you all love me. I'm Cody and I'm brilliant." I think that's.
But they've already got a character in that, and she's a dentist.
Yeah, well, they can do it. They can do it. Do it with two people.
Don't need another one of them.
Yeah, well, as long as Cody's not outright Dr. Britt Baker heel, if he does that, if they do it right, and he's like a nice nuanced heel, it could work really well. And Smackdown.
Everything they did with Undertaker was a pile of shite. That was just an insult to his fucking heritage and to the Mark fucking Gallows.
Yeah,
fucking insulted.
Yeah,
I felt insulted as a fan.
They obviously rushed this after all the positive tests, and they filmed it. Well, they finished filming it just hours before it went live, just a few hours before it was actually shown on TV. With obviously a slightly limited roster, but it was bullshit, because they'd announced all these matches. They'd announced Drew Gulak versus AJ. They'd announced the Jeff Hardy Sheamus. Here's a toast to Jeff Hardy, whatever it was. And then they just didn't do any of it because, they're incompetent and managed to give half of their roster a freaking virus.
True, I like a lot of the things that wasn't non-Undertaker stuff, because they put no effort into it when they could have done with Undertaker stuff. Hell, you could even got Undertaker to do a fucking video as well.
Yeah, because I'm not being funny. There's going to be a lot of people. Well, there is a lot of people out there who will watch SmackDown who aren't subscribed to the network. I can say that for a fact, because the network doesn't have as many subscribers as what SmackDown gets viewers. So there's going to be lots of people. There's going to be lots of people, firstly, who haven't seen the Boneyard match. There's going to be lots of people who haven't seen the Last Ride documentary. So I get why they did it, but also there's going to be so many people who have never seen Mark Calloway, the man, talk. And I bet people would be interested in that. If they'd have promoted that Mark Calloway interview or whatever on the show, I reckon lots of lapsed fans would have been really interested.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people just watched the documentary on YouTube.
Yeah. But that's around the world. But in America, they get millions of viewers on their TV shows, and yet they've only got 800,000 viewers on the network. So
that's because they're watching their crap on YouTube.
Yeah, but not all. But not everyone. There's going to be most people that watch it on YouTube are coming from India and Pakistan, the Middle East. Really, that's where WWE's big numbers are. But they're going to get a huge number of people that will just be watching Fox normally, old wrestling fans, people that don't watch any wrestling right now. But if they'd have seen that promoted, they probably would have been interested in that, because I haven't watched wrestling in 10 years, but I know who the Undertaker is. And, he's retiring. Oh, wait, we're going to see him speak. Oh, that'd be cool. And we'll probably watch it. But instead, they promoted it half-assed 6 hours before it went live. And then they fucked it up.
The opening part of when they advertised, and they're going to have these ref guys to talk about the other. And you're like that. Oh, we all can blatantly see. It's just like, why did you just not contact people? Get them to do a fucking video about Undertaker. You could have even got Undertaker to do a fucking video on it. Yeah. Undertaker ain't going to say no.
But this is what I mean. It's like they literally could have just done a sit-down interview of Undertaker via Skype. They did it with Austin, where he's literally like what me and you are now, where one person, like Michael Cole's interview, they could have just done that for 20 minutes or whatever, and it probably would have been quite interesting. But
yeah, still you can show bits of matches from his thing and bits of his, but at least get some fresh stuff. Instead of I'm just going to take this documentary that we've just thrown out and
yeah, I agree. Because do you know what? Do you know what that's going to do is they could have boosted their viewers this week with lapsed fans who, I know who the Undertaker is, but what's actually going to happen is they're going to have made people turn off, because you're going to have all those people that subscribe to the network who are going to have gone, like that, I've seen this, and switched it off.
To be honest, I almost did this morning, but then I clicked a bit on the wrong part and I went to towards the end of what I was watching and saw the women's match and was like, all right, so there is some actual other stuff going on. Okay.
Yeah. So there was some okay bits on the show. I didn't like the Baron Corbin Jeff Hardy thing. I thought that was just, I don't know. I thought that was shitty. But
actually, no, I didn't kind of mind it too much, because actually sitting there at the end realizing technically Jeff Hardy is actually the longest reigning sort of wrestler there at the moment.
Yeah. No, I like that. I like the fact that they made Jeff Hardy think. I just thought, the Baron Corbin, you suck.
It was just,
Undertaker.
let's be honest, it's just a filler thing. We all knew what it was. You can't take anything more serious into it.
Yeah,
it's not leading into any. It's not leading into any other story.
Hey, we don't know that. They could be booking Undertaker, Baron Corbin in Saudi. We don't know that now.
I don't think Undertaker will be asking about the Saudi.
No. The Braun Strowman Bray Wyatt thing was bizarre. I think his point though. Extreme Rules is now called Extreme Rules: The Horror Show.
Yeah, I did see that. I was a bit confused.
Yeah, and do you know what's even weirder about it? Is they changed all the graphics this year. Obviously, they announced it a few weeks back. They changed all the graphics to that bright purple and green and all that, and made it stop looking extreme or whatever. And then they call it the Horror Show. Like the pictures and stuff just don't match up with the name of the of the event. But we know there's a swamp match, so that is whatever cinematic match is going on between Braun and Bray. It's called a swamp match.
So basically, they're gonna do like 2K20. No, yeah, 20.
Oh god, yeah, I forgot that was a thing. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm interested in seeing it. I've enjoyed pretty much all of the cinematic. Yeah, I've enjoyed all the cinematic matches. I think the only one which didn't cut it for me was Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream.
Well, that wasn't their fault. Actually,
not their fault. Yeah, it was the production of it.
The fucking. I know people moaned about, we had this many camera angles. It wouldn't have been so bad if the people with the cameras could have fucking focused on what they were doing instead of it all being shaky. Yeah. And at one point, half the time being pointed in the wrong kind of direction, so you only catch part of what they're doing. Of it.
Yeah. I think that was like we said this on the NXT thing before, was that had the potential to be really, really good, and WWE production let them down on that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
But yeah, I gotta admit, the Smackdown women's match, the Fatal 4-Way, it was in ring was really, really good. Unfortunately, one female let themselves down a little bit because she made herself come out looking stupid, and that's by what she was saying. And that's Dana.
Oh, yeah. She
started off going, and even one of the commentators said, "Oh no, it was Sasha saying." Even Sasha commented one, which she first turned around to Nikki Cross saying, "Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?" Who what? She's won more championships in this company than you have. She's been on TV more than you have.
Yeah.
She's actually, this is that point, more important and more over than you. So if you don't know who she is, get the hell out of the ring. And then it comes to the bit when she's covered Nick. I think it was Nikki. It was either Nikki or Alexa Bliss. And they break. The pin gets broken. She gets up. What are you doing? Do you mean what are you? Of course they're going to break the fucking. It's a fatal 4-way. You're all trying to win the fucking match.
Yeah, I did notice.
So I love the bits that were between like Nikki and Alexa. Nikki quickly did that, saying, "I'm sorry, but it's not about us. I love you, but it's about that title over there." I loved all of that. And then Dana had to go and open her mouth and make herself look stupid.
Make everyone look stupid.
Well, she wasn't making everyone. She was making
No,
herself
because-
look stupid.
Yeah.
Even though it was still a great match for in-ring stuff. And I was like, if you had just kept your... Because even Sasha, every time she did this, was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I agree. And do you know, like, to add on to that, I completely agree with that. I think Dana was sort of the weak link in all of it. But also on commentary,
when she opened her mouth.
Yeah, on commentary, I really liked Sasha. I really didn't like Bailey this week, and I normally quite like Bailey when they put on commentary.
Problem is, at times with Bailey,
nut.
I think that's the kind of way, because at the moment, I think that's how they're trying to do it at the moment. Trying to
Yeah.
get a little bit more behind Sasha and make people get a bit fed up with Bailey.
Do you know what the thing was with Bailey on this time as well? Was that she was saying stuff which didn't even make sense, and a lot of the time Michael Cole was even just like, "What?" Like even Michael Cole didn't know what to say back, and sometimes he was like, "Well, no, you do it then. I'm fine. I'll just sit back here and don't do anything." Because I don't know. Yeah, I didn't really. Something didn't gel with me, but the match was really good. I'm sure Nikki Cross and Bailey will be quite a good match. And then we've got Sasha and Asuka as well. So,
well, yeah. Well, I'm on mixed feelings here, because I would love to see Bailey and Sasha hold all the gold quickly, just go on a quick dominant run. But I know that's not how it's going to go either, because there's a longer thing for Asuka and people over on Raw. Yeah. But I'd also love to suddenly see that Nikki Cross be the one to dethrone Bailey. And I think Nikki Cross at the moment is so freaking funny.
I think Nikki Cross has been one of the standout women of the no fans era. She was right at the beginning, the highlight of several Smackdowns. Right at the beginning of this, when there was no fans, she was a complete standout. So I'm really behind.
Let's be honest. Her and Michael Cole had some great fun.
Yeah.
Didn't quite understand. Well, first time when she came out and did the commentary, where she was, and then he really enjoyed it. And now he's really behind Nikki. So hopefully she can be the one to finally dethrone Bailey.
Yeah. I have no idea which way they're going to go with that. I assume, as you say, they've got more plans for.
Well, yeah, I was earlier on, before I was waiting for you to sort yourself out, I was looking through some stuff, and some people have sat around and said they're thinking of potentially because they were talking somewhere I was looking to do with Charlotte's thing on parts of why she won't be around, and they were saying one, you're going to still see bits of Charlotte because of things that she's doing and blah blah blah. They won't seem like she's gone. This is what Charlotte was saying. But apparently, there's rumours about a triple threat match at SummerSlam, which is going to be Asuka, Charlotte, and Nia Jax.
Yeah, probably about
which means I've got to deal with a storyline right now for Nia Jax for a couple more months.
That means that's going to go on for a long time. I think any long-term booking, they're planning on doing this at SummerSlam, everything's got to be taken with a pinch of salt, because these motherfuckers don't even know what they're doing 1 week to the next at this point, because they can't plan that far ahead. But anyway, that was This Week in Wrestling. Please head over and follow us on Twitter at SEW_podcast. You said above, like and subscribe to this video, and we will see you next time with another video. We are out.